Hey guys, what is going on? It is your boy J King, and today we're going to be continuing our reaction series with reacting to news about Call of Duty 2022. There's been some rumors out about what this game is going to be, and I think this video does a pretty good job of summing it up and summing up what we can expect coming from Call of Duty in the next year. If you do enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and also hit that subscription button down below and ring that bell for more content just like this. Also go and show the original creator some love. The link will be down in the description below, and also let me know if there's anything you want me to react to next. So without further ado, let's hop into it. So this video is basically going to be summing up what we already know about Call of Duty 2022. A lot of this is stuff that we pretty much already knew and pretty much already expected from this year's game, but I think there's some key details here that is actually pretty surprising and might have some big implications.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Call of Duty 2022 is officially confirmed. We are only 3 days into February, but we've already had confirmation from Activision on who's creating this year's game and have alluded to some very exciting things coming with the game. Now, of course, it's a no-brainer that a new Call of Duty game is coming, but getting an official confirmation this early into the year is absolutely unheard of and gives me the suspicion that we might learn a lot more about this year's game sooner than the August reveals that we've gotten used to.
We'll talk a little bit about that.
Comment section below. Be sure to drop a like.
He goes into it with more detail there, but we'll talk a little bit about that later.
So Activision's quarterly investor call happened today, and rather than a traditional phone call,
Yeah, so the investor call, this is where we really get sort of these announcements, and I put those in air quotes because they're really, really vague. You'll see the sort of details on this one, but it's like, it's those sort of taglines, a brand new Call of Duty experience, a next generation, and they usually sort of reveal, I put those in air quotes as well, who the game is going to be developed by. I mean, we know who develops these games, and I'll talk a little bit about that later, but these investor calls, they do give off some information, but it's usually really, really vague.
They just had a press release, but within that press release they mentioned specifically that development on this year's premium and Warzone experiences is being led by Activision's renowned Infinity Ward studio. The team is working on the most ambitious plan in franchise history with industry-leading innovation and a broadly appealing franchise setting.
Yeah, so this is probably one of the most interesting parts. Sure, we know that Infinity Ward was going to be developing this game. That is not uncommon knowledge. I mean, we know how sort of the developers rotate making these games, so we knew that Infinity Ward were going to be making whatever Call of Duty they were making. It's going to be coming out this year. What is interesting though is that Infinity Ward is actually in charge of the Warzone integration this year. If you've been following development on Warzone and Call of Duty in general, really, you'll know that Raven has usually been in charge of that since Warzone has come out. So seeing that Infinity Ward is actually taking charge on this either means one of two things, and I think it's mostly going to be meaning the one thing. It's either going to mean that Raven is not working on Warzone anymore, and instead the integration into Warzone with these new titles is going to be charged with the studio actually making them, but I don't think that's actually the case. What I really do think this points to is pretty much confirming the rumors that we've had with Warzone 2. Pretty much Warzone 2, I forget who even leaked it or who rumored it in the first place, but basically it's going to be sort of a new game of Warzone. It's going to completely reset progression and things like that. It's going to be a whole new engine. So my bet is that Raven is already working on Warzone 2. It's been rumored to release around Treyarch's title in 2023. Whether that's before or after, we don't really know yet. But my bet is that Raven has been tasked with working on that game, and that is why Infinity Ward is actually leading the Warzone integration this year, which has not been going on in the past years since Warzone has been out. It's always been Raven. So seeing Infinity Ward actually in the Warzone integration and leading that is a little bit interesting. But as far as, you know, we know that Infinity Ward was making a game this year, but that latter part was a little bit interesting to me.
Now, it is absolutely no surprise that Infinity Ward is going to be developing this year's game. We've all pretty much known that's going to be a fact already. But as far as what they can mean by a broadly appealing franchise setting, it's got to be Modern Warfare. The rumors all say this is a Modern Warfare 2, and all that Infinity Ward have alluded to is this cryptic tweet as soon as the press release went out saying a new generation of Call of Duty is coming soon. Stay frosty. Hearing Stay Frosty immediately gets me excited because that only alludes to one thing, and that is Modern Warfare. A sequel to 2019's Modern Warfare is probably what we're getting, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so there's been rumors about Modern Warfare 2 already, and he talks about it a little bit later in the video. They're really, really credible rumors about this next game actually being Modern Warfare 2, and this just pretty much all but confirms it at this point. It pretty much all but announces the actual name of the actual title that's coming out. But this pretty much just confirms what sort of rumors were already circulating about Modern Warfare 2, and he gets into that later in the video.
And the fact that the wording is a new generation makes it sound like it could be one of two things. Either this is going to be such a big leap in terms of Call of Duty from what we saw with Modern Warfare and the engine and just the way that the game looks and feels, that this is going to be a pretty big step up, or that the game could potentially be releasing on current gen consoles only. I've seen that rumor circulate a little bit, and I would only imagine it to be true if they believe that enough of the player base had access to those new consoles. But if we're still in the console shortage that we're on at the moment, then that might not be a reality for another year or so.
So it is possible that Modern Warfare 2 is actually just going to be releasing on the next gen consoles and PC, but I'm not really sure we could take a lot of information from what Activision says during press releases, because they are just so broad and so vague that, I mean, they pretty much, I think I've heard that same exact line, a next generation of Call of Duty. I mean, they pretty much throw that around, a brand new experience. You know, they throw that around every year. So I don't know about taking that sort of as a fact and that this is going to release on the new consoles. But I do believe that that is coming in the near future, whether that's this year or next year. Again, it's sort of the decision by the developers. Do we have enough players on these new consoles and these new generations of systems to actually buy the game? Yeah, the console shortages he mentioned, you know, they're still pretty harsh. So it is possible, but I do think this is mostly just sort of vague things that Activision throws around pretty much every year.
There's a lot of rumors circulating surrounding all of the different modes within the game, which we'll be going into in just a short bit. But the one point I want to make is the fact that what I said at the start of the video, we have never ever had confirmation of who's creating the Call of Duty game, and basically having the game confirmed this early into the year. And to me says a few things. The first, that they are very confident and happy with this game, that they are happy to start teasing it and mentioning all this stuff a lot earlier than we are used to, which is a really good sign. Another point is that we could actually see this game be revealed a lot sooner than we expect with that August reveal time that we've been getting used to. This thing could be revealed a good few months earlier, and there's a chance that maybe the game could release earlier than expected as well. Now,
so I'm not really sure if I agree with this. Pretty much Activision, I forget when they said it, but so Activision made a statement about sort of revealing the new Call of Duties, and they said Warzone really changed the game from them. They said they don't have to reveal Call of Duties as soon in the year, you know, before Warzone launched, because Warzone is pretty much sort of like the main sort of life cycle of Call of Duty now. So they don't have to release an announcement about a game earlier in the year anymore, because obviously with the new Call of Duty already dying down, people are stopping playing it. But now you have Warzone, people are still going to be playing Call of Duty. We saw this with Vanguard. It was revealed really, really late. I think it was even into August. And then the beta was actually in like mid-September. And then if you compare that to like Black Ops 4 or World War II, who had their betas in like late July, early August. So we could see sort of where Activision's, you know, actions are matching up to their words. So I don't know if them sort of confirming Modern Warfare 2 in this press release is indicating that they're going to reveal it or release it sooner. You know, based on what Activision has already said in the past, I don't see that happening. I just think this is sort of like, doesn't really mean much, honestly. I mean, we knew that Infinity Ward was developing. We knew that there was going to be a Warzone integration. We knew a lot of these things already said by them. So I'm not really sure that that is going to translate to them revealing and then releasing the game sooner in the year. I still think we're going to see a pretty late reveal and then a release around late October or early November.
There's nothing to indicate that the game is going to be releasing earlier, but I just feel with the fact that this has been announced so early makes it seem like we are going to be getting things a little bit earlier this year.
And this happens a lot with the investor calls or whatever sort of things Activision are doing. They make these broad statements, and maybe it just happened earlier in the year this year for whatever reason. I don't think this is necessarily giving evidence to them, revealing it sooner, and therefore releasing it sooner. I just think it's something that happened earlier in the year just for whatever reason.
I think with how the community have responded with Call of Duty Vanguard, Activision know that it has not done as well as they probably expected and want to get those Call of Duty players that loved Modern Warfare but aren't loving Vanguard so much to be excited for Call of Duty again.
And real quick, I'm trying to keep the commentary down and stop pausing the video so much, but it's not just Vanguard that's not being well received, it's also Warzone. The new Warzone map, Caldera, people do not like that. A lot of, big influential streamers, that was sort of like one of the main core pillars of Warzone. They're not really happy with the map, and people are playing Rebirth instead. I know a lot of people, when I see them playing Warzone, they're playing Rebirth and not Caldera. So that could be a problem in Activision's mind, and maybe they're trying to build some hype earlier in the year than usual, to try to generate some hype from that. So it's not just Vanguard that is being not so well received, it's also the new Warzone integration with Vanguard,
to keep them engaged and invested for when this game does roll around. Now, the only other direct details that they've mentioned about Call of Duty is that the teams are executing against an exciting pipeline of content planned, and they expect to drive the renewed expansion in the Call of Duty franchise later in the year with groundbreaking all new experiences. And something also to note is that the studio expansions has continued to add development resources worldwide as plans continue for ongoing live operations and new unannounced titles in the Call of Duty universe. So that's plural, not just Call of Duty 2022, but there are actually other Call of Duty games that are being planned within the universe of Call of Duty. And to me, that sounds a little bit different to just Call of Duty 2022 and Call of Duty 2023, Call of Duty 2024. Like, there could be actually other Call of Duty games interwoven with these premium title releases.
And that's probably coming from Warzone. I mean, we've seen even with Cold War and Modern Warfare, they were sort of tied together through Warzone. They even made like some story up about it, of why like the map went back in the past. So they're tying these games together, but Modern Warfare and Cold War were not really tied together in any other way besides Warzone. So I really think that's what they're meaning here. I don't think they're making sort of these Modern Warfare games. I don't think Treyarch is going to be making a Modern Warfare game. I think they're going to stick to Black Ops, and who knows what Sledgehammer is going to do in the future. But I don't think that's going to be really tying sort of the base games together. I think those are going to be tied together by Warzone, which we've seen, through the past 3 Call of Duty titles.
But let's jump into what has been rumored so far to be in Modern Warfare 2022. So the game is rumored to have a few different modes. It's going to have campaign, a multiplayer, Warzone integration, of course. But the most exciting...
Yeah, so we know about those modes. It's pretty much a given at this point. When a Call of Duty comes out, it's going to have at least those 3.
Rumored new mode coming is a rumored mode called DMZ, which is going to be Call of Duty's take on Escape from Tarkov. This is all according to a renowned insider on Twitter called Tom Henderson, who shared details on all of the modes within Modern Warfare 2, including this new DMZ mode, which has apparently been in development for several years, with some of his tweets saying that this mode has been in some form of development since early 2018, and that he can't speak for everyone at IW, but for those who he has spoken to are actually very positive about the game itself in terms of content and its direction.
Yeah, so number one, Tom Henderson, I think he was the one that sort of maybe even started some of these rumors about Modern Warfare 2 even existing, a little while ago. So he's really, really credible leaker, especially when it comes to Call of Duty news. And this third mode, Infinity Ward really hasn't had a good third mode really ever. I mean, even dating back to Modern Warfare 2, they had the Spec Ops mode. They tried Survival in Modern Warfare 3. They tried Extinction in Ghost. I think the Zombies mode in Infinite Warfare was probably the most successful, even if it didn't stack up to the Treyarch Zombies. But they've really, and even Modern Warfare, the 2019 one, didn't really have a Spec Ops mode that people even played or even cared about. So Infinity Ward has never really had a good third mode like Treyarch has, and I think this is sort of their attempt to do that. And I think it's a better tie-in than Spec Ops was. To sort of the gameplay and sort of the lore of Modern Warfare, what Modern Warfare actually is. So they're trying to sort of emulate, I don't want to say copy, but try to emulate Escape from Tarkov's success. But at the end of the day, this is just sort of them trying to, hey, Spec Ops is not working. Spec Ops has really never worked, honestly. Let's try something new. Let's try to get a good, strong third mode. That's really going to be helping to drive our sales.
According to another insider on Twitter, Ralph's Valve, this has been described as a replacement of Spec Ops with an escape from Tarkov mode, where the objective is to accumulate loot within several separate maps before successfully extracting. You'll be plundering through abandoned homes, buildings, vehicles, crates, and corpses, with each map's architecture varying between large landmass and vast districts to claustrophobic shantytowns and dimly lit one-of-one scaled corridors.
And I bet a lot of money that these maps are going to be either taken directly from the Warzone map, or they're going to be pretty much reused from something in some way. I think it's going to have a pretty decent tie-in to Warzone, whether that's an exact copy of the map, like some of the previous Call of Duties have done, like Cold War did with Outbreak and their ground war maps. But I think it is going to tie into sort of the Warzone map, just to really help with development times, pretty much.
There are a number of extraction points that will be layered across each map, provided the player meets a list of requirements, enabling them the option to withdraw, and upon doing so, you will have seized and secured all the loot acquired during the raid. It's certainly a risk-reward mode where combat is imperative, as generally valuable items are found on the backs of others, but if you're killed, you'll likely lose all the items which you originally entered the map with. Now, in this
very similar to Escape from Tarkov.
Will later have groundbreaking all-new experiences, and the DMZ does sound like it ticks that box if this is true. It honestly sounds absolutely incredible, and I really think suits the gameplay style of Modern Warfare, especially when you have missions like Clean House, where you'll be slowly traversing through a really dimly lit building. And
yeah, like I said before, the Clean House mission was probably the most renowned and most well-liked mission in Modern Warfare. And he even talks about this later in the video, but they're going to try to expand upon that with the campaign, and then this new Spec Ops mode, this new DMZ mode. They're going to try to expand on that and pretty much make that more a part of this game than it was in Modern Warfare, especially with how successful it was in that game.
And there could be other players waiting in the rooms for you to try and take your loot. What's really interesting is that this mode is rumored to share the map that Warzone is going to have, which is going to be a brand new map, which is apparently going to comprise of several various classic points of interest from Modern Warfare 2 maps. And
yeah, so that's not surprising. Number one, a new map. People don't like Caldera, so you best bet that there is going to be a new map when Modern Warfare 2 comes. A new map in terms of Warzone. And then just reusing the same map or reusing parts of the map. It's what Call of Duty's always done. And I'm not too, upset about it. I don't think it's lazy. I don't think it's cheap. I think it makes sense for developers to reuse assets where they can. And I still think, the DMC mode sounds interesting. It sounds a lot different from what Warzone and what the multiplayer is. So I think it's going to be unique, even though it's reusing the same map. And also the points of interest or like multiplayer maps being included in Warzone, not really surprising. They've done that with the first Warzone map. They did it in Blackout, and they're going to continue to do that.
This apparently includes expanded versions of Favela, Afghan, Quarry, Terminal, and Trailer Park, which, if this is true, this sounds like any Modern Warfare fanboy's dream. I really hope this is the case, because it sounds absolutely fantastic. When it comes to multiplayer, apparently some Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer maps are going to be featured as remasters. And this apparently includes some classic Modern Warfare 2 weapons and more returning, which will be awesome. And that's
yeah, so that makes sense. I mean, remastered maps is pretty much always going to be present in Call of Duty. Pretty much from here on out, it's been, I don't even remember, name a Call of Duty in the past 5 or 6 years that hasn't had a remastered map. And also the weapons, I mean, you can expect that's how, Modern Warfare did it. The 2019 version had a lot of weapons from actual Modern Warfare or COD 4. And they're probably going to do the same thing here. And maybe even have some Modern Warfare 2019 guns in there. So a lot of that makes sense.
As for campaign, Modern Warfare 2's campaign will...
And also, I should say, there's not a whole lot of details on the multiplayer overall. I mean, he'll talk about it later, the campaign. We have information on mechanics. We have information on the Warzone map and what's going to be included. Pretty much all we really know so far is there's going to be some remasters, probably the ones that are included in the Warzone map, and then there's going to be some returning guns. That's pretty much all we have on multiplayer so far, when we know a lot about the other 3 modes, if you include Warzone.
Will be centered around the drug war against Colombian cartels. Sources say that the single-player story is a grittier take on Modern Warfare 2019's campaign, with more close quarters combat, tricky decision making, and the classic COD set piece moments fans have come to expect.
Yeah, so expanding upon the kill house or whatever clean house mission in Modern Warfare, they're trying to expand that, make it play more of a role in this campaign. Modern Warfare 2019 did see some success with this campaign, maybe not as much as some of the older Call of Duties, the older Modern Warfare series, but I really do think that is probably going to be a core gameplay aspect with that clean house mission sort of being included throughout this game because of how successful it was.
Task Force 141 will be returning, providing player characters in the campaign as well as the operators in the multiplayer. But this time, Task Force 141 will be scrapping the desert-themed military uniforms and bulky helmets for tiger-striped uniforms and boonie hats. Gone are the days of heavy-duty tanks, jeeps, and planes. They will be replaced with military rubber boats and small helicopters, which better suit the quiet infiltration of Task Force 141. And apparently, the AI system has been completely overhauled, with enemies now holding their wounds, screaming and cursing, and reacting more realistically to gunfire to further immerse players when battling the Colombian cartel. There will also be other additional animations like weapon jamming and character shaking that will be campaign specific as cinematic one-off events rather than a continuous feature that happens throughout the campaign.
Yeah, so when we first heard this rumor about like weapon jamming and things like that, people kind of went crazy over it because they thought it was going to be a multiplayer and they were like, oh my goodness, this is going to be so bad. But it's just campaign specific now that we have a little bit more information about it and the game's not even revealed yet.
This is all according to a report from Video Game Chronicles written by Tom Henderson back at the start of November. But again,
very credible
it's all
again.
rumor until it's confirmed, so you got to take it with a pinch of salt. But it all sounds fantastic.
Yeah, and these mechanics can't change. I mean, the game is still in development, but if Tom Henderson is reporting on it, you could probably bet that it's true at the time. Whether or not it changes, that's possible, but this is pretty credible information.
Fantastic if true. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section down below. Are you excited that a new Modern Warfare game is coming this year created by Infinity Ward? Are you intrigued and excited to see what new generational changes we're going to get to COD with this game? I'd love to know in the comments below. To make sure you don't miss out on any news about Call of Duty 2022.
Yeah, so not a whole lot of information. I mean, we do know a lot, and a lot of it was expected. But I do think that the Raven software team not being a part, or not being at least in charge of the Warzone integration of Modern Warfare 2, I think that's interesting. I think that points towards Warzone 2 potentially being developed by them, and that being coming out, you know, whenever it does. But at the end of the day, I think we knew a lot about this stuff. I mean, there is the potential of being on the new gen consoles only, and then of course the new DMC mode, that's pretty much going to be sort of them trying to make a strong third mode. The Activision, you know, is pretty adamant about when they've seen the success that Treyarch Zombies can have, and probably the success that they can have on Activision's pockets. But overall, it's pretty much a lot of stuff we knew, but there are some key pieces of information that are interesting, and we might hear more about that coming in the future. So anyway, guys, that is today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to leave a like if you did. Leave a comment down below. Keep the discussion going and let me know what to react to next. And I will see you guys in the next one.